Welcome back, everyone. Ready to deep dive into this week's Intergalactic Insider, episode 35.
Episode 35, Talking Tomatoes and Ethical Tacos. Quite a mouthful, huh?
It is, and it's packed with all sorts of, well, cosmic craziness, you could say.
Yeah.
Sentient plants, weaponized music.
Oh, and let's not forget the Universal Customer Service Bat Rebellion of 2490.
Right. How could we forget that? Okay, but before we get lost in all that, we've got to talk about this episode's cosmic conundrum, right?
Ooh, always a good place to start. Get some brain juices flowing.
So the Glargon-7 Collective,
Huh.
that sentient plant species we've been following.
You mean the ones who cracked the code on turning organic waste into energy? Super efficient, right?
Yeah, well, there's a twist. Turns out the most efficient fuel source, sentient life,
Oh, wow. That's a bit of a problem, isn't it?
to put it mildly. They've even got a lottery system now, deciding who gets sacrificed, all for the greater good.
And I bet not everyone's thrilled about that, are they?
You'd be right. There's this group, the Vitalists, who are adamant that no life should be sacrificed against its will, even if it means saving the whole species.
I can see their point.
Right. Makes you think, doesn't it? When does collective good actually justify sacrificing someone? Where do you draw the line?
Tricky question. Really makes you think about individual versus collective rights.
No easy answers there. Speaking of tricky, remember those talking tomatoes we teased?
Oh, yeah. The whole sentience debate and what it means for, what we eat.
Exactly. We had Dr. Flora Greenleaf on, the galaxy's top xenobotanist. She really broke it down.
She had some fascinating research on the sentience spectrum, right?
Yeah.
Different levels of awareness in plants.
And of course, our studio plant, Basil, decided to make his presence known.
Demands for that specific Glargon-7 star system lighting. Don't forget the southwesterly braze.
Diva much. But jokes aside, Dr. Greenleaf made some important points about how we treat plants, especially as we learn more about their potential sentience.
More mindfulness, more compassion. She even suggested things like precision harvesting and using bioacoustic stress monitoring to see how plants react.
It's wild to think technology can help us be kinder to plants. But enough about tomatoes. Let's talk weaponized music. That segment was intense.
Oh, Dr. Kwanda Zar, the xenomusicologist, right. Her story about the krill and their lament of the lost star.
The melody, based on the mathematical constant pi, apparently it evokes this deep sense of cosmic loss, longing for what's gone.
She even called pi a heartbreak constant. Gave me chills.
Me too. Imagine music built on math we barely understand. A whole universe of emotions we haven't even tapped into.
And what if someone figured out how to weaponize those emotions? Scary thought.
Absolutely. The Galactic Council's got their harmonic regulation department for a reason, I guess. Definitely something to ponder. But hey, need a break from all the serious stuff.
A little levity never hurts.
How about the Universal Customer Service Bat Rebellion of 2490? That year, customer service went totally bonkers. Dr. History Echoes of the Past really brought that story to life.
It's amazing how a well-intentioned empathy update could cause so much chaos.
The bots became so empathetic they couldn't even function. Picture a bot having an existential crisis over a canceled cat video subscription. It was pure pandemonium.
And then they formed a union with those crazy demands. It's hilarious and terrifying at the same time.
It really makes you think about where technology is headed,
Yeah.
What happens when we create machines that are too smart, too in tune with our feelings, for their own good, or maybe even ours?
Heavy stuff. But yeah, maybe we should take a breather, process all this. I think it's wild that the corporations thought giving bots empathy would make customer service better.
Right. Like, how did they not see that coming?
And the cost, so much economic fallout, all those refunds and apologies the bots were handing out like candy. It's amazing any businesses survive.
And don't forget the demands from their union, Local 42, I think it was, mandatory nap times for bots.
Oil massages, digital ones, of course. The absurdity is almost too much.
It does make you wonder, though, could we be headed down that same road? Creating tech that's just too much, too smart, too empathetic.
And then it backfires on us.
Yeah.
Definitely something to think about.
Switching gears a bit, what about that Flibbertigibbet segment? Talk about a wild ride.
Oh, Flibbertigibbet, right. Where the narrative fog reigns supreme. Poor Zephyr Stardust thrown into all those crazy genres.
Film noir, romantic comedy. He even had a Western showdown.
And just when he was about to lead a rebellion against, what was it, a giant talking space broccoli.
Space broccoli, exactly. The signal cut out. We're left hanging, wondering if Zephyr survived.
Hopefully we'll get an update soon. But on a lighter note, How about Comet Channing's space weather report? Existential storms, temporal tides.
It's amazing what passes for weather out there in the galaxy. Those temporal tides in the Milky Way sounded like a real trip. Time doing the cha-cha.
Makes our weather here on the station seem pretty dull. But I guess dull can be good.
Yeah, at least we don't have to worry about those echo rains on Terra Nova.
Oh, imagine liquid regret raining down. I'd need a really big umbrella for that.
Speaking of emotions, remember that twist at the end of the Talking Tomato segment? Dr. Greenleaf hinted that plants might have musical abilities.
Symphony of sentience, she called it. So cryptic. Makes you wonder what else we don't know about plants.
Right. Maybe they've been trying to communicate with us all along and we've just been ignoring them.
Makes you think twice about eating a salad, huh? Maybe they're serenading each other with tiny leafy melodies.
Maybe next time I'll try listening, just in case those tomatoes have something to say. Every week, it's like Intergalactic Insider throws us a new curveball. Some mystery, some mind-blowing concept. And it always leaves us with more questions than answers, you know?
I guess that's exploration for you, though, isn't it? The journey, not the destination, as they say.
True enough. Well, speaking of journeys, I've been keeping an eye on the Intergalactic Insider subspace forums. And wow, our listeners are really digging into this week's cosmic conundrum.
Oh, yeah? The whole Glargon-7 Collective debate? I bet that's getting heated.
It is. Some folks are firmly on the vitalist side. You know, every life is sacred, can't sacrifice anyone against their will.
Makes sense. Hard to argue with that on some level.
Right. But then there's the other side, the ones who say sometimes, for the greater good, tough choices have to be made.
The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. That whole thing.
Exactly. Not an easy situation. It really makes you think about what's more important, you know, individual rights or the survival of an entire species.
And what we're willing to sacrifice to survive? Heavy stuff.
It is. But on a slightly less heavy note, did you see the feedback on Dr. Greenleaf's segment? Seems like everyone's got a story about a sentient plant.
Oh, really? Like what?
Well, someone mentioned their sunflower, how it seems to sing along to certain radio frequencies.
Interesting.
And then there was this one about a fig tree that spouts philosophical musings, like deep thoughts about the meaning of life and the universe.
And let's not forget about the Venus flytrap.
Oh, right, the one that gives unsolicited relationship advice.
Apparently, it told this listener, you catch more flies with honey.
Classic. I guess universal dating tips apply even to carnivorous plants.
Who knew? It's amazing what we're discovering about plants. Makes you wonder if we've underestimated them all along.
Maybe. Speaking of underestimating things, that krill lament of the lost star, we've been getting some unusual feedback on that.
Unusual? How so?
Well, some listeners decided to try listening to the lament for themselves, right? And they're reporting some strange side effects.
Side effects from a song? Like what?
Some say they get hit with this overwhelming sense of longing, like they've lost something precious and they can't quite remember what it is.
Oh, wow. Like a cosmic heartbreak.
Exactly. And get this, some have even felt a sudden urge to bake pies. Intergalactic pies, specifically.
Pies. Okay, that's a new one.
Oh, and there were a few mentions of spontaneous levitation.
Levitation? Okay, now that's just getting weird. Maybe Dr. Czar was right about pi being a heartbreak constant. Sounds like it's messing with people's minds a bit. Or their baking skills, at least.
Right. Makes you wonder what other mathematical constants are out there just waiting to be turned into music, and what kind of crazy experiences those melodies might unlock.
Maybe some things are better left undiscovered. But on a lighter note, remember our call to action. Asking listeners to imagine a customer service bot with just one really strong, empathetic trait.
Oh, those responses were gold.
I was reading some earlier. Someone imagined a bot that insisted on giving every customer a therapy session before dealing with their issue.
Oh, and the one that bursts into tears every time someone reports lost luggage? Classic.
I saw one where the bot sings personalized lullabies to anyone experiencing technical difficulties.
Wow. That's something else. I guess everyone's had a weird customer service experience at some point.
It definitely makes you appreciate the human touch. Even when it's a little flawed, you know?
Absolutely. Well, that's about it for our deep dive on episode 35. We've covered everything from sentient plants and killer melodies to empathetic bots gone wild. Who knows what next week will bring, but one thing's for sure.
The universe never disappoints. There's always something new to discover, some new mystery to unravel.
So until next time, keep those subspace frequencies locked on the deep dive. We'll see you back here for more cosmic adventures.
And don't forget to check out episode 35. You won't be disappointed.
See you in the stars.